Hey folks, want to come on the podcast and do another solo episode. This one's going to be on a concept that builds nicely. We talk about mindset, entrepreneurship, and it's inspired by a book I read in 2018. I think it was then, maybe the year before after, but I'm pretty sure it was around that time. I moved to London, just a bit of context. I think I got off the airport in Gatwick and got the overground. Got really into reading this, and I think the same day or the next week I ended up finishing it, or I think so. Maybe I went off, but maybe not. Either way, I think it's super important, so I want to talk about it. And it's called Seeing What Others Don't: The Remarkable Ways We Gain Insights. Gary Klein. No one has taught me more about decision making. Malcolm Gladwell. And here's the book. On the side, this isn't a review, by the way. A living example of how useful applied psychology can be when it is done well. Daniel Kahneman, author of Thinking Fast and Slow, one of the most influential psychologists today. Wired. Insight is everything. At its simplest, it can solve everyday problems. As its most profound, it can change the world. It can be used to build businesses, solve crimes, progress science, and make many aspects of our lives quicker, easier, bigger, or better. Yet remarkably, we often unwittingly build barriers to seeing what is in front of us. Both as individuals and organizations, we can hold on to flawed beliefs and conform to established processes that can interfere with our perceptions. Having clear insight can transform the way in which we understand things, the decisions we make, and actions we take. In this groundbreaking study, renowned cognitive psychologist Gary Klein uses an eclectic miscellany of real-life stories to illustrate the process of insight. He demonstrates the five key strategies for spotting connections and contradictions to ensure you see what others don't. Moves our understanding of insight forward by significantly adapting the story we have about it. Julian Baggini, Financial Times. A brilliant discourse on a fascinating subject, management today, sheds light on those realizations that can change the world. Independent. Let me just get into this, talk about it real quick. I find it fascinating anyway. Hopefully, maybe you do as well. One sec. Seeing What Others Don't: Ways We Gain Insights is a 2013 book by Gary Klein. We already got into this. A cognitive psychologist known for studying real-world decision-making. Here's a clear, practical overview what the book is about. Klein explores how people get insights, those aha moments, especially in complex, uncertain, real-world situations, firefighting, military, business, and medicine, not puzzles or lab experiments. He argues that insight is not magical and not rare genius, but a skill that can be understood and improved. 3 paths to insight. Klein identifies 3 common ways people see things or see what others don't. Number 1, contradiction. Something doesn't fit expectations. Example, data, behavior, or outcomes clash with what should be happening. Insight comes from taking anomalies seriously instead of ignoring them. Number 2, connection. Linking ideas that were previously separate often comes through analogy, pattern recognition, or reframing a problem. Number 3, creative desperation. When standard approaches fail and pressure forces new thinking, constraints can actually enable insight. Key ideas: insight does not equal intelligence alone. Experience, attention, and mindset matter more than raw IQ. Experts see patterns faster, but they can also be trapped by assumptions. Organizations often kill insight by punishing mistakes, over-relying on procedures, ignoring weak signals. Insights can be cultivated, not just waited for. How to improve insight? Practical takeaways: looking for anomalies, not confirmations. Ask, what am I assuming here? Reframe problems multiple ways. Expose yourself to diverse experiences. Slow down judgment when something feels off, or quotation marks off, which is off. Who should read it? Learners and managers, designers, engineers, analysts, entrepreneurs, anyone doing complex thinking under uncertainty. If you want, yes. And just let's get into this builds on top of it. Here are 5 key insights from Gary Klein, seeing what others don't, in a concise bullet format. Number 1, insight often starts with a surprise or contradiction, paying attention to anomalies or things that don't fit expectations in the first step toward seeing what others miss. Number 2, experience shape pattern recognition. Experts spot subtle cues that novices overlook, but experience can also create blind spots if assumptions aren't questioned. That's super interesting. Number 2, experience shapes pattern recognition. Experts spot subtle cues that novices overlook, but experience can also create blind spots if assumptions aren't questioned. Just thought I'd reiterate that point. Number 3, connections spark new ideas. Combining unrelated concepts, perspectives, or domains frequently leads to breakthroughs. Constraints and pressure can fuel creativity. When standard solutions fail or resources are limited, the need to act can trigger unconventional insights. Culture and mindset affect insight. Organizations that punish mistakes or discourage curiosity stifle insight. Fostering openness, reflection, and diverse thinking encourages it. Let me build on this. Just briefly, this may not be in the book, but what is an insight? An insight is, I think we maybe just talked about it briefly. Let me just double check. Yeah, the aha moments. But let's talk about what is an insight. For anyone out there that's first hearing about this term, that's absolutely no problem. Maybe it's a younger audience, or maybe it's anyone out there, or maybe it's an older audience, maybe it's the same age. Doesn't matter too much. An insight is a sudden and deep understanding of a problem, situation, or pattern that wasn't obvious before. It's more than just knowing a fact. It's seeing connections, hidden relationships, or truths that others might miss. Key characteristics of an insight. Number 1, novelty. It reveals something new or overlooked. Number 2, clarity. It often makes sense of a confusing or complex situation. Number 3, actionable. Often points toward a solution or a new approach. Unexpectedness, it usually comes when you're not just following routine thinking. In Gary Klein's terms, insight is what allows you to see what others don't by noticing patterns, contradictions, opportunities, and that are hidden in plain sight. And just a bit of here's a clear breakdown of the difference between insight, intuition, and knowledge. Number 1, knowledge. What it is: facts, information, understanding you have learned or acquired. Characteristics: explicit, stored in memory, can be shared. Example: water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. Limitations: knowledge alone doesn't automatically reveal solutions to a complex or novel problems. Intuition: a gut feeling or automatic sense about a situation, often based on experience. Characteristic: fast, subconscious, pattern-based, or hard to fully explain. Example: a firefighter just knows a building is unsafe without running tests. Limitations: can be wrong if based on flawed experience or bias. Number 3, insight. What it is: a sudden, often surprising understanding that uncovers hidden relationships or solutions. Characteristics: novel, illuminating, connects. One sec. Disparate pieces of information, often actionable. This seems to be a pattern today, me pronounced word, which never is an issue in the past. So I may just eat more food today than usual. Coming up, Merry Christmas, by the way. It's coming to the Christmas season, so, or it is the Christmas season. So those of you Irish out there listening, the Late Late Toy Show was on, so that was the start of the Christmas season. You can go back and listen to the Merry Christmas episode if you want. Desperate pieces of information, often actionable. Example, realizing that a drop in customer engagement is linked to a small change in the app interface, something no one had noticed before. Relation to the others, insight often emerges from knowledge and intuition. It goes further, it reveals something previously unseen. In short, knowledge, what you know; intuition, what you feel or sense; insight, what you suddenly see wasn't obvious before. Let me just get into some examples of insights. If anyone out there is wondering still what it would look like in the real world, or practical examples. So number one would be, or a set of clear real world examples. Number one, science. Example, Alexander Fleming noticed that mold killed bacteria on a petri dish. Inside, a natural substance, penicillin, could fight bacterial infections. Why? It's an insight. It revealed a hidden relationship that wasn't obvious from routine experiments. Business. Example, Netflix realizing customers preferred watching entire seasons on demand rather than waiting for weekly episodes. Insight, binge watching drives engagement and subscription retention. Why it's an insight, connected customer behavior with product strategy in a way others hadn't seen. Number three, sport. A basketball coach noticing that their team performs better when certain players are substituted in pairs. Insight, certain player combinations create synergy beyond individual skills. Why it's an insight, recognize the hidden pattern in performance data. Number four, in everyday life, realizing that your frequently late snacking is triggered by checking your phone before bed. Insight, phone usage disrupts your sleeping cues, which leads to cravings. Why it's an insight, reveals a non-obvious cause and effect relationship affecting behavior. 5, crisis or emergency. Example, a firefighter notices a subtle smoke pattern and predicts that a building is about to collapse. We already talked about the kind of firefighter analogy. Insight, recognizing early warning signs that others might overlook. Why it's an insight, connects experience, observation, and pattern recognition to avoid disaster. Pattern in all of these examples. An insight links something hidden or overlooked to a situation, prediction, or new understanding. It's not just noticing something, it's seeing its meaning. Yes, I thought I'd mention that. For me, it's super important, maybe in a business context, pattern recognition, I suppose in everyday life. Once you notice, once you can start gaining insights or making insights in your life in one area, I find you can go to other areas as well. So let me just look this up. I'm not sure if this is in the book, this last one, but super important. I think we may have talked about it, but at the start, let me just... We talked about 3 main paths to insight: connection, contradiction, connection, creative desperation. But just quickly, how to improve noticing or having more insights. Improving your ability to notice or generate insights based on Gary Klein and other cognitive science research. I'm not a psychologist, but this is super interesting. Number 1, pay attention to anomalies. What to do, noticing something doesn't fit expectations, patterns, and norms, why it works. Many insights start from a contradiction or a surprise, which you talked about. This is the 3rd time. Practice, keep a What's Weird journal. I've never done this, but that's an interesting exercise. Write down moments that feel off or unusual each day. Question assumptions. What to do, regularly ask yourself, what am I assuming here? Why it works. Hidden assumptions can blind you to a solution. Practice, pick a routine decision or a problem and list 3 to 5 assumptions. Then imagine if the opposite were true. Make connections. What to do, actively link unrelated ideas, experience, or fields. Why it works. Insight often emerges from connecting seemingly unrelated dots. Practice. Use analogies or mind maps. Ask, what does this problem remind me of in a different context? I think I used mind maps. I did use mind maps when I was in my undergrad in TU Dublin and in business school. Super helpful. I think I learned it in art history in secondary school, so, which is a great way for me to remember insights or connections. I find it's super helpful. Slow down. Reflection. What to do. Take time to think deeply rather than always reacting quickly. Why it works. Reflection allows your brain to recognize information and notice patterns, which is a great thing. I've definitely learned how to slow down over the last 4 years. Super. Some people don't like the word slow down to the term, and we're a bit over 15 minutes, but I think I used to hesitate when probably thinking of slowing down. But I think it's great. Learning to really look after one's slowing down the pace of life really has improved my overall. I think it's improved my health and well-being. Wait and see. I think it definitely has. So I think I'll speed up again a bit. Practice. Set aside 15 to 30 minutes daily to review events, decisions, or problems, looking for patterns or surprises. 5. Expose yourself to diversity. What to do. Seek new experiences, perspectives, and knowledge outside your usual domain. Why it works. Novel input provides raw material to new connection. Practice reading. Read outside your field. Hence all the different books that I've been looking at over the last number of years. It's allowed me to expose myself to different concepts and ideas to create new and wonderful insights in my own life, and wait and see how that goes in the future. Talk to people with with different experiences, travel or try a new hobby. 6. Embrace constraints and challenges. What to do. Treat limits or failures as creative prompts rather than obstacles. That's fascinating. That's pretty cool. Why it works. Pressure or necessity often spark. Maybe it's the wrong word. It's pretty cool. Treat limits or failure as creative prompts rather than obstacles. I never heard it like that. Why it works. Pressure and necessity often spark unconventional solutions. Practice. Give yourself artificial constraints in problem solving, e.g. solve X problem with half the resources. Number 7, capture your ideas. Write down what to do. Write down your observations, questions, tentative thoughts. Why it works. Externalizing thoughts helps your brain see patterns and connections it might miss in your head. Practice keeping a notebook, voice memos, or digital journal. I kind of do this unconsciously, have my own sort of notes that I keep in like a WhatsApp. You can send yourself your own messages. You can, I think I got it from Ali Abdal. He has his own. You can message yourself on WhatsApp and then pin it to the top. There's other ways, Notes app and a few other things you can use. Summary formula for insight practice. Notice anomalies. Number 2, question assumptions. Number 3, make connections. Number 4, reflect. Number 3, explore diversity. Number 6, experiment constraints. Number 7, record ideas. The one big takeaway from this is just noticing, maybe this Christmas, if you're out and about or you maybe buying presents. I mean, if you don't buy presents, that's absolutely, like, I want no judgment here. Hopefully it's a safe space. But yeah, if you notice yourself, maybe if you notice something out there, maybe jot it down, like an idea you have or a pattern. You think, oh, I didn't know. Why is that like that? Or why is this like this? Or maybe not too much, maybe very, very moderately. But or you can read the book, Seeing What Others Don't. The Remarkable Ways We Gain Insights by Gary Klein. No one has taught me more about decision making, Malcolm Gladwell. So here's the book. I don't know if I'll put a link to it, maybe I will, but yeah, hopefully you find it useful. Yeah, the one thing, probably just, you could write stuff down, but or you can read the book. There you go. Have a wonderful evening.